thank you for being here, and we're going to talk about signs that you see. Are you paying attention? The divine is always giving us signs, and I love that. Give me a little sign from Sylvia. I wish I could get Sylvia just to flick the lights on and off real fast. That'd be great. So the talk downloaded because I was driving to meet a friend in downtown. Now, we all get signs all the time. Okay, be honest. Do you pay attention to them all the time? Raise your hand if it's like, okay. So I'm driving down Ferguson towards, I-30, and the first sign that I see is a church marquee. Now, these four I could not take pictures of, but I do have pictures later. And the first one said, how to abide in prayer. I'm like, oh, that's good, but not my church, but that's a good. Okay, I like that. So then I get on I-30, and all of a sudden I see this big red billboard because I'm like in prayer about things with my family, next steps, how to expand my ministry. I teach mindfulness to children, but it's like something greater is calling me. And then I heard I saw it, pray. God listens. I'm like, okay, I got it. All right, more prayer, just a line in prayer, all right? And then go a little bit farther, and there's a sign about Albuquerque, but, because then I get into like a little whining, like, but this and that. And it said, attitude adjustment. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So pray, shift my attitude. And then the last one was this big billboard, and it said, fortitude over attitude. And then fortitude is courage in pain or adversity. I thought, okay, got it. Gotta pray, listen, shift my attitude, be a little stronger when things are hard. Got it, God, And so it brought me to, that understanding that whatever this thing called God is, this greater reality that we are all a part of, is always aligning with our intentions. And whether we're paying attention or not, the universe is providing us signs. You can put God, you can call it Sylvia now. A friend of mine used to call it Gus, great universal spirit, but I'm not going to teach you the how, because I don't know how it happens. Who's ever had the sign while you're thinking about something and suddenly a message is in alignment with that? All of us have, right? I remember years ago when I was going to a meeting at Center for Spiritual Living Dallas, and I was frustrated, and it's like, what do you want me to know, God? And this green BMW came out, and it said, write, W-R-I-T-E on the license plate. I'm like, okay, got it. Well, it's taken me 20 years to really start taking that seriously, right? But Greg Levoy, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he talks about it too in this article in Psychology Today, because he was in one of those moments where things are stirring, right? So in our subconscious and consciously, something's stirring, change, you can feel it, but you just can't see it. And he was like, trying to decide about quitting this job, as a freelance writer, and then he's driving home, and then on the radio comes Desperado by the Eagles, right? And he says as he pulled to the curb in the front of his house, the last line said, don't you draw the Queen of Diamonds, she'll beat you if she's able. The Queen of Hearts is always your best bet, right? And he turns off the ignition, he opens the door, he steps his foot out, and right there is a card, Queen of Hearts, right? And he said he stood there dumbfounded, wondering, what is that? What is that? And of course, what happens to our mind? We go into linear human thinking, because there's no way to actually understand how that happened, how the green car was right, how the Queen of Hearts is present. But what we're given is the invitation to pay attention. Because the universe, God, Sylvia, whatever you want to call it, is actually guiding our next step. Now, we're always wanting the big picture in life whenever we're in shift or something's not working. We want all the details. Even GPS doesn't work with all the details, right? Like it says turn right, and you're supposed to really go left. But the whole thing is with these signs and paying attention is that whatever's happening within my life, I have to understand that I'm not separate from this thing called God. That I am that actual expression of the living spirit. So this greater reality is just a tuning saying, hey, if you really want to take that next step, here it is. Here's a sign. But how often do we doubt it? Or how often do we tell someone, or like, oh, that's not true. That was just that was lucky, and then we shut down. And he says, it's the universe, God, spirit. I'm going to keep referencing Sylvia until she flicks the lights. Showing us that we're on the right path. And sometimes we need that because we're not in trust. Or the faith is diminished because there have been challenges along the way. In our human experience, we're going to have these experiences that are going to open and expand our consciousness. But sometimes we get stuck in what's not working and we miss the sign that's telling us to go this way. And so I call them, I say the universe is winking at me, and when I read that he said that too, I thought that was great. Because sometimes we need these reminders that the universe is operating on our behalf by our conscious choices. Spirit is expressing in, through, and as me, seeking to have this experience in your unique incarnation. Because for 20 years, I'm like, I'm not going to write. I love writing, but there's so many better writers, or I'm not going to do this. Who's going to read this or pay attention? Which was interesting because yesterday I had this nudge to go check my P.O. box. And I wasn't expecting anything for my nonprofit. And something's like, go. I'm like, okay. And then what happened was I did this reading with a friend of mine, and that happened just to start playing. And in that reading, it was inviting me to do what? Write. And it gave me all the elements of what I have to look at within. To be present to sadness, to be present to any anger, to be present to grief, to allow myself to feel valued and loved, to know that the word is, and this is my interpretation, the word of God seeking to express. But how many times do we deny that? How many times do we look in another direction? Denise Lynn, author, says, in every moment, the universe is whispering to you. You're constantly surrounded by signs, coincidences, and synchronicities, all aimed at propelling you in the direction of your destiny. And Greg says the minute you pay attention to the signs, you'll begin to see more. Because really, we just need the next step. We just need that next 5 yards. We want to see the whole picture because that's that human aspect that wants certainty, but we live in a universe that's not certain, but we get to choose in the moment that which we seek to experience and express. And the minute I can turn it to faith, God's got this. Whatever this greater reality called God, God's got this. I'm listening, I'm paying attention, I'm being guided. So the subconscious mind is becoming conscious. The one mind that we call the mind of God is revealing itself. Our job is to pay attention, right? And then the asking for signs is the intention, the seed into that universal law. Sylvia, give me a sign, guide me. Now, I do believe our ancestors communicate with us. I'm a little woo-woo. Some people might, not believe in it, but I believe in angels, ancestors, ascended masters, all of that, because that's all God. Whatever this thing called God, this big infinite reality, is going to show up in whatever way. I've had nudges from friends on the other side. I've had go here, do that. It's up to me to pay attention. But when I am allowing that which is seeking to be revealed, and then I'm setting the intention, then I will see it because I believe it. Because I trust. I trust in the process. I trust in the divine guidance. I trust that I'm being led for my highest good. So when we have a challenge, like a long-term illness, I'm like, well, that's not good. I had to build trust that I was being guided to something greater. So that when I can stand here, I can look back and say, oh, now I see the zigzag. It took me this way, and I had to go that way because I needed to land here. And none of that would have happened had it been a straight line. So the signs that are revealing themselves, we have to allow and create the space. Deepak Chopra says, according to Vedanta, which is in Hinduism, there are only 2 symptoms of enlightenment. Just 2 indications that a transformation is taking place within you toward a higher consciousness. The first symptom is that you stop worrying. I think I'm still working on that. Things don't bother you anymore. So I've made progress. But he says you become lighthearted and full of joy. That is true. And then the second symptom is that you encounter more and more meaningful coincidences in your life, more and more synchronicities. And this accelerates to the point where you actually experience the miraculous. You just got to pay attention. I'm a mindfulness teacher. Present moment awareness. What is guiding you? So I often tell people, I go, don't try to overanalyze or place it in a box or do the linear thinking. If something happens, just write it down. well, I saw this sign. Well, that was interesting. But start noticing what's within you that's stirring and the signs that pop up. So I thought I'd show you a few that I did get pictures of, all right, for the fun of it, along my way. Now, which way do I point? All right. All right, so this one I was like thinking about, so next steps, and then the bus pulls up and it says, breaking barriers, boldly go, all right? So who can use that message today? Anybody raise your hand? All right, good, that message is for you, awesome. Now, the fundamentals of focus, I'm standing in line, waiting at the pharmacy at CVS, and I'm like, so what should my next project be? And I look to the right. Focus, basically, was the message there for me. Maybe the orbit white too, but I focused on focus, right? I love this one. Who needs to unblock their system, right? You got something stuck, right? Something that needs to move through, old habits, old patterns, these thought processes. Gently unblock your system. But that, I would suggest your spiritual practice. I mean, if you need pure lax, that's great. But, just, the spiritual practice that can cultivate that release and that let go in a conscious way. Then, love one another. That's a beautiful one. I think, is it on Abrams or Skillman, the church? I can't remember because I'm going down the street. Of course, I had to make a U-turn to go back and take that beautiful picture. And that's a beautiful reminder, especially when we're navigating all that's happening now. Spirit's like, love one another. Make tiny changes. I was at Houndstooth Coffee, and I got my coffee before going to school. This was during the spring. And I walk up to the car, and the guy just got in it. No, he was coming towards the car. And I looked at him like, oh, because I'm always like, we always think we need to take the next big leap. No, tiny changes. And he was getting ready to get in. I go, do you mind if I take a picture of that? He goes, oh, it's my wife's car. I've really never paid attention to that. So who needs to make tiny changes? Raise your hand. That message is for you. Awesome, all right? Super ego. This was my favorite one because this was a while back, and I was just having a fit about something, right? I was not in that higher consciousness. I was in my pure human expression, which is okay. And I'm not lying. This big truck, all of a sudden, I'm like, whatever. And I'm in the car, and this big truck makes a right, and it's like, oh my God, I'm coming from my super ego and all this. And so I literally chased the truck to get the photograph, right? So, and nobody was harmed in the taking of any of these photographs. Let me be very clear, all right? And then, Walgreens, I'm driving along, and I got to pick some pictures, and I'm just like, what do I need to know today? Oh, be happy and healthy. Okay, thank you, Spirit, I don't typically shop at Walgreens, but I'd like the happy and healthy. All right, and the last one. Laugh until it makes sense, all right? So who can use that message? Laugh until it makes sense. Yeah, we all do. We all can use some of that. So the invitation is that, life, I don't understand how it happens. I don't understand how Greg could walk out and there's that card. The last one, I've shared this one before. This was years ago, and my niece and I were walking to La La Land, and we were passing the Purple House, and there were tarot cards ripped everywhere. And I didn't have these glasses at the time. I just was using reading glasses. And I picked one up, and I picked another one up, and I didn't see it until I got home. Weeks before that, I had heard the message, prepare for death. I'm like, oh, I got to get all my stuff in order. Like, I need to update my will. I need to do that. And I'm like, that's odd. So when I get home, the card literally was the death card. I'm like, oh, I really need to get my SHIT together. All right, I got it. Something's like, I'm not ready to go. But the truth of the matter was that 2 hours after that message, my Aunt Alice died. Within 2 weeks, my favorite aunt, Aunt Margaret, died. That summer, another friend died. And I thought, oh, prepare for death. But prepare for death, for me, meant live fully now. Don't wait to connect with people. Because with my Aunt Margaret, I kept saying, I need to go see her. We called her Zia instead of Thea. I need to go see Zia. I need to go see Zia, and I kept waiting. I'm like, oh, I'll have time. I need to go see Zia. And I didn't. And I felt like that whole sequence of messages, and then after that, these last couple of years, I had very close friends that passed. And I felt like it was just a reminder that in every moment, every breath is birth and death, right? But there's no time to wait. All I have is this holy now. And it was a reminder that to not wait to go see my aunt. So like with my father, I'm like, I'm not going to wait till he's ready to tell me his stories. I'm going to give him a book to write down his stories, right? And so the universe gave me a clear sign, even from my own life. At the memorial service, I was online. One of our ministers passed away, Reverend Catherine Economo, and she was my senior advisor. And Dr. Christian Swartzen said, he goes, death is not a period, it's a comma. And then I thought, and signs are the punctuation mark, right? Bing. So you're being called to live fully now. And whatever's calling you, you're actually calling it. It's seeking to meet you now. And when you pay attention to the signs, don't get stuck in the analyzing, drop into that meditation practice. Get the affirmative prayer going, listen within, because the ego, super ego on my part, will try to deny, distract, deter. Your job is to turn to the presence that is God, that law of demonstration that's seeking to reveal in your life, where you take that action, that next step, guided, guarded, loved, lifted, supported by that which is greater, seeking to reveal itself as your life. And you will only see, like I said, the next 5 steps, if you're lucky. Because things are changing so rapidly in the universe, it may be 2 steps. Then take the 2 steps. Become comfortable with uncertainty, but also pay attention to the signs. So before we pray out, I just want to share that Deepak Chopra says, synchronicity is God sending us messages anonymously, which I love, all right? So anytime you see a sign, thank you, God, or thank you, Sylvia, I thank my friend Jody, I thank my friend Rebecca, I thank my Zia Margaret, like I'm always thanking everybody, and be in gratitude, but write them down. Write them down, and just start noticing any pattern. Because that which within you that is seeking to express is going to bug you till you start doing it, right? But just pay attention. Don't doubt it, and don't share with people who are doubters, all right? There's some people, they're just afraid. That's just so woo-woo, Veronica. And I'm like, well, that's me. I'm open to the Spirit in whatever way it wants to reveal itself. So allow yourself to see the signs. I will say this, if you're driving, and you cannot take pictures while driving, don't do it, because I took those pictures, most of them driving. So I don't recommend that, but pay attention and write them down. And then go into your meditation and go into the visioning process. What is seeking to reveal as my life? Spirit in, through, and as me has a need to be and express and experience itself fully as you. And so, are you paying attention? Yes. So here's the invitation, just for a moment. If you feel comfortable, I'm going to invite you to stand up and connect with someone. And if you can, maybe share, if you don't have a sign that you can share an intention. I have a book that is being published, and my intention is, and speak it, all right? And then what I want you, because you're going to have someone just bear witness to your intention, and then your job from now on till it demonstrates is pay attention to the signs, all right? So think of something, maybe a sign you want to share, but really if there's an intention of something that's stirring, that wants to be revealed, you're going to have someone who's going to bear witness to it, so the person's just listening, not asking more questions, and then you switch and share, maybe 2 people because of timing, and then when you go home, write that intention down and start paying attention to the signs, all right? Go, you got a few minutes. And when I round you back, I'm going to have you come back. You don't have a partner. Come on up. The only thing is I'll turn the microphone off. So me too.
Okay.
What's your intention?
My intention
I'm holding the mic so that don't miss.
is, well, there's a lot of transition in my intention.
Yeah.
A lot of things that I'm transitioning to my son, and a lot of health issues I'm trying to resolve.
Okay.
And then I want to retire.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
So now start paying attention to those signs.
Okay.
Write those down when you get home and pay attention to the signs. And then I also invite you to write a prayer request. Put it in the box. They'll keep you in prayer.
To keep me in prayer.
Keep you in prayer for that, all right? I will know for you wholeness. I will know for you divine right action for your retirement. And whatever for your son, there's ease and grace with that, all right?
Okay.
Awesome.
Great.
Good.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Awesome. All right. Let's come gather. We can share more after the service, all right? So otherwise, I'll keep you here too long. I'll allow people to wrap it up. Let's hold that space of yes. especially those still sharing that sacred yes. You're activated, you're allowing, you're accepting, and with gratitude, you're declaring to the universe that holy yes. So pay attention to the signs. If you find me on Facebook and you have a sign picture, post it on my Facebook page. I love stuff like that, all right? But just know that just right now, you have put into the universal law, for the law of demonstration, that the intention that you have is revealing in divine right timing, divine action. You have now a God presence that just witnessed that holy yes that you have said that I am willing to accept. Now pay attention. And when the doubters come around, bless them, right? And live your life fully in this holy now, because we don't know how long we're going to be on this planet. I'm intending 95, 97, 98, good health, but we don't know. But allow yourself to receive the signs. Activate the law with your prayer and your intention. Allow the meditation just to be the space of connecting and attuning. And when the signs arrive, write them down, listen, and take that one step. If you're willing to do that, give me a yes. Yes. Awesome. So we bear witness to that. So I invite you to close your eyes, go within, take that deep breath in, just taking in this love of this sacred space and the awareness of the indwelling presence, that which I call God, the allness, the wholeness, the power, wisdom, harmony, abundance, all that is seeking to reveal joy, peace, wisdom, everything is the way that God reveals itself in this moment. And as I know and affirm and declare that the presence of God is the allness of life, I know that each person here is an individualized expression of the Holy One. So all that is seeking to be revealed is the way that Spirit is aligning to express itself in, through, and as these beloved lights. So I speak my word first in gratitude for actually just allowing the signs to be revealed, accepting the good that is seeking to express, and to know that it is God ordained to live a life of abundant flow, of harmony, of joy, of love, of power, of strength. All that is necessary is God's way of revealing and expressing and experiencing itself. And so I just know and affirm and declare that every single intention that was seated here, that the signs reveal themselves with ease and grace, that each step is in perfect alignment for the highest good of everyone here, and that the celebration of the demonstration already in the mind of God is happening. How beautiful it is to know this truth. How beautiful it is to be this truth. Take a deep breath in. Allow that to flow. In the sacred yes. One more time, give me a yes. Yes. It is in that yes that I know that it is so, and I let go. I let God. I know that all that has been declared is already revealed, and with joy and with love and with celebration, I just let it be, and so it is.